never thought that I would say this, but I think that my favorite character from the fourth part of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Diamond is Unbreakable is actually Koichi Hirose, a character that I completely wrote off at the beginning of the series as I felt he was just going to be a bumbling sidekick, but he's actually ended up being one of the most fun characters from the series who's gotten a lot of really cool development, and in this week's episode, he gets to throw down with one crazy psycho bitch. That's right, it looks like they're introducing another stand user in this week's episode, and her name is Yukako Yamagishi, and this chick is absolutely fucking insane. Now, what I love about her character is that they didn't really hint at what her personality was going to be like at all from the intros or the ending of the series. I thought she was just going to be sort of like your bubbly, cute female side character, but no. She's absolutely insane, and hilariously enough, if you guys remember in the previous episode when she was introduced but we didn't hear her name yet, I thought that she was smitten with Josuke, as if she had actually fallen in love with this character. What I didn't realize is that Koichi was actually hanging out with Josuke at the time, and it looks like she's got the hots for him. In fact, the episode actually opens up with Josuke and Okuyas walking through the streets when they notice Koichi is hanging out at this cafe, when suddenly this cute girl sits next to him and confesses her love to Koichi. And of course Koichi's just like, what the hell is going on? I did not see this coming whatsoever. And it really does seem like it could be a nice, fun, genuine relationship. That is until she reveals her darker side. You see, she loses her cool quite easily, and this combined with her stand powers, which involve her hair, by the way, make her pretty damn disturbing, because she confesses her love to Koichi. Koichi's just kind of like, I don't really know what's going on here. She's really embarrassed. She runs away. He goes back to drinking his Coke, and there is hair all in it. It's disgusting. It almost seems like it's just going to be a joke at first, but it's your very first clue to seeing what her stand powers are. Not to mention, there is a clue at the beginning of the episode that all stand users are drawn to each other. Like, there's a power within you that sort of, like, gravitationally pulls everybody together. And I thought that's what was going on here, but she does seem to genuinely really like Koichi, and that's mostly because of the big character change that he's gone through. Like I said in the beginning of the series, he's a bumbling sidekick. Right now, he's one of the coolest characters from the show. Ever since he went Super Saiyan and actually activated his stand for the first time, he's been a very confident character, but he's still Koichi at heart, which is to say he's really ridiculous and has a lot of overblown expressions, and he freaks out at just like the minute something bad happens, and that's what's been going on this whole episode right here. So throughout the course of the whole episode, he's constantly being met by this girl Yukako, and she's trying to basically win his love in a number of different ways, helping him in cleaning out the classroom, kidnapping and feeding him some really weird shit, and even attacking some other suitors who are supposedly going after Koichi. There's this one girl who's the class rep of the school who's just hanging out with Koichi just randomly. She clearly doesn't have the hots for him whatsoever, but of course Yukako sees this as like something that's really bad, so she confronts her outside, and this is where we get to see her stand powers in action for the very first time, in a scene which I thought was going to end up being extremely dark for the series, but actually ended up being really funny because of Okuyas actually intervening. She can actually take her hair and implant it in other people's bodies, in particular in their scalp, and what she does is she puts her hair in this other girl's head, and the hair can actually move on its own, it can do a lot of things, and it actually takes all of this fire, which is by this nearby camp, and it pulls all the fire into her hair. She's desperately trying to run and get into some water, and then suddenly the hair wraps around her tongue, looking like it's about to just completely choke her and destroy her, but luckily Okuyas comes in, uses his hand powers to stop it, but this chick doesn't escape unscathed. She actually has a huge bald spot in the back of her head, and it's just a really funny moment. It's at that point you realize, do not fuck with Yukako. She is absolutely insane, to the point where at the very end of the episode, she actually kidnaps Koichi, brings him to this summer house, and basically locks him up in a room, because she has big plans for Koichi in the future, because Josuke and Okuyas had this stupid plan where they're trying to make it seem like Koichi is like a bad guy, like he's a thief, he doesn't do anything right, he's underhanded, he's bad at school, and she decides she's going to turn him into a prim and proper man by actually feeding him correctly, training him, and even schooling him. but her schooling methods are kind of messed up because she brings breakfast into him and then she says, no, you're actually going to study and eat all at the same time. So we're going to do some trivia questions. We have 3 boxes here. I'm going to ask you some questions and you're going to have to get the answer. The scene here is really funny because, one, there's a lot of great references. One of them is actually a direct reference to Prince, and I'm curious to know if this was actually in the original manga version or if they're just doing this for the anime and sort of like a tribute to the character of Prince or the singer himself who actually just died recently. Koichi gets the first question right. The second one, on the other hand, he completely screws up on, and he's forced to eat a lot of asparagus wrapped in old nasty newspapers. You heard me right. That's her methods for actually getting through to Koichi, and it's kind of fucked up. Even more so when she actually ends up slamming Koichi right into the ceiling and letting him know that no one's going to be here all summer, you can scream all you want, you're not going to be escaping. This bitch is crazy. So, what's the rundown on this week's episode of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Diamond is Unbreakable? I really liked this episode because it was so different from some of the previous episodes. It still managed to have a lot of like the real shock value of some of the other episodes of JoJo, but it was also really funny. I found myself laughing quite a bit while watching this episode, and it's also really refreshing to see like a main female character in the series because, let's face it guys, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is basically a sausage fest, so to see an actual female character in the show is pretty damn awesome. Although she's insane. That's the thing. That's the trade-off. And I'm wondering how long she's actually going to stick around, but considering how prevalent she is in the actual intro and the ending, I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of Yukako in the future. Another little detail about this episode that's definitely worth mentioning is that the intro has been slightly retooled. It's basically a remixed version of the song in this week's intro, and there's a lot of imagery which has changed, like you can actually see Koichi stand in the intro, and there's just a few other little minor details, and honestly, I like the way it is now, even more so than before. Just there's a lot more energy behind the song, the colors are a lot more vivid, it's really cool to see Koichi with his stand in the intro, and again, Koichi, like, wow, this character has just really transcended himself and become one of my favorite characters from the series. There is a big difference I'm starting to notice, though, from Diamond is Unbreakable. It started out sort of like typical Stardust Crusaders, like super violent, super crazy, especially with the introduction of that very first villain, but after that, it's almost started to turn into a little bit of a comedy, a really dark comedy, and I actually like that. It's differentiating itself a lot more from Stardust Crusaders, while still sort of harkening back to that series and even having some elements of the very first season of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Not to mention, there's still a lot of mystery of everything that's going on right now, because we still haven't gotten back to the overarching plot about that guy with the electrical stand. They're really taking their time to introduce a lot of these brand new characters, of course starting with Kobayashi, and now we're at the very crazy Yukako, who is a really fun character, and you know, you should have seen her hair powers coming. That's like her main feature, is that she has long, flowing black hair, and I think aside from all the moments with Koichi, all the moments with her where she just snaps are really funny, because she's such a cute-looking character, but when she gets pissed off, she's freaking horrifying. I'm talking like Nagisa's mom from Assassination Classroom scary, like really, really freaky. So, great episode of JoJo right here. Another cool character has been introduced, and it has a cliffhanger ending, which is going to get a lot of people excited for the next episode. I can't wait to see how this story is going to be resolved. Hopefully, Koichi will be able to get out of this by himself, and they'll gain an interesting ally. Although, I have a feeling that Josuke and Okuyasu are going to have to bust in. Maybe they'll even bring some help. Maybe they'll bring those other 2 guys that they met in the previous episodes. This could be the formation of a brand new adventuring team. I really cannot wait to see how it's going to go down, and as crazy as Yukako is, I want her to stick around because we do need some female characters in this show. So, great episode right here, fantastic production value as always. I think this is one of the most visually appealing shows that I've seen. I absolutely adore the color scheme, and I just love all of the atmosphere. So, great episode right here. I'm giving it a 5 out of 5, one of the most unique episodes of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure I've ever seen, and I cannot wait to watch next week's. So check it out, JoJo fans. You might see something you like. But if any of you guys did watch this week's episode of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, why don't you tell me what you thought about it in the comments section below? What did you think of the brand new character of Yukako? Did you think she was absolutely insane? Do you want her to stick around? What more of her stand powers do you want to see in the future? And what do you want to see from the rest of Diamond is Unbreakable? Please tell me in the comments section below. Thank you guys for watching. You guys are awesome. If you would like to help support Super Kami Guru 9000, you can do it in a number of awesome ways. Maybe comment on this video, like the video, subscribe to the channel. That way you'll see all of our latest anime and manga reviews. You guys should also check us out on social media, and you should look at our weekly podcast show, The Powerful Nerdcast. It's pretty freaking life-changing and awesome. You'll see links for all of that stuff in the description box below. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, stay dandy, baby!